You'll find it Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. Good to see you, Ed. How are you today?
Doing great, Seth. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for making time for us. I know you're a busy man, and it's been a busy time chasing all this crazy weather we've had. And, you know, the running joke here this spring, Ed, has been if you're on the show, we're in for some severe weather. Do we have that? Is that trend holding serve here this here morning?
Well, yeah, we had some severe weather creep into our forecast for the Tuesday cold front, afternoon, early evening. Looks like it hits DeWitt County roughly in the 6 to 8 p.m. time frame tomorrow. So if we hold true, we'll probably have some kind of, maybe some wind damage or some large hail hit the area. It just seems like a never-ending story here.
It really is. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get into it. I look out this minuscule little view I've got here in the studio. It appears to be sunny. What's this Monday looking like, and what are we looking at for the week ahead here, Ed?
Absolutely. Yeah, you see plenty of sunshine today. There's really no chance of a whole lot of cloud cover at all. Maybe some cirrus possibly, but otherwise, yeah, nice, comfortable day, 71. Real, not too breezy, northwest winds coming in here, but yeah, real pleasant day. Can't beat it. We were a little cool this morning. I think we got down in the low 40s, creeping into that 30 range, but tomorrow night it'll be a little warmer, mid 40s, and then we hit 80 on Tuesday ahead of the cold front. So a little breezy tomorrow. If you got some dusty fields near you, you might have a little dust flowing across the roads when the winds get up near 40. We kind of pause a moment to say, hey, was there maybe some dust problems out there? So just got to be aware of that tomorrow anyway.
Sure. Yeah, and again, the dust issue there, Ed. I mean, it's surprising we have it because it's been so wet this spring.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the thing we look at. We're like, okay, we got a good dose of rain, we were good, but the drain tiles kind of filter those fields out pretty quickly, and the high speed tillage, practices kind of pulverize that first 2 to 3 inches of the soil, and we're told that it can return to that quality of powdery nature even if there is a rain event on them, because they just filter the water through to the drain tiles pretty quickly. And you would think rain would keep it down, but boy, we've had issues even the last week or so with dust happening not too long after rain. So it's just a matter of how that soil once we start getting the crops growing, that'll help a lot, but it's still not enough growing out there to really stop that from being a problem right now.
Sure. So possibility for some dust events again tomorrow. Sounds like it's going to be windy. Did you give us a temperature for tomorrow, Ed?
Yeah, 80 degrees. Should hit 80.
Nice.
That's warm. That's above normal for this time of year. So you can definitely want to drink extra fluids if you're running around outside. Your body's not acclimated in May yet to heat, really. Okay. And even 80 can cause some stressors on the body a little bit this time of year.
All right. Give us the rest of the week. Let's get into Wednesday and beyond.
Sure. Yeah. Return to sunshine on Wednesday, but it's going to be cooler. That cold front comes through with storms Tuesday evening, maybe a few severe storms. That level 105 risk for the whole area on Tuesday evening. And once that gets out of here, winds are going to shift around to the northwest for Wednesday with a high right around 70. Cool again Wednesday night. Clear skies, though. Really no clouds at all Wednesday night. Lows around 44 or so for that DeWitt County area. Thursday, more sun. Still right around 70, 71. So pretty comfortable. Just a little bit below normal for this time of year. Thursday night, partly cloudy. Really no precip in the forecast Thursday night either. 51 for a low. Rain returns as we head into the Friday and into the weekend time frame as the heat really builds back up again.
Gotcha. What are we looking at for the weekend?
Yeah, starting Friday, we've got, right now it says 40% chance of showers in the morning, and then maybe some breaking up in the afternoon with some sunshine, but high around 75, but breezy.
Uh-huh.
It's probably going to be some southerly winds there. Friday night, again, we've got 40% chance of showers. A few thunderstorms in the mix there, mainly in the evening with that one. But then Saturday night, Sunday, all kind of a mid-range 30 to 50% chance of showers in there. But the temperatures are going to ramp up. So there'll be some periods of sunshine, 83 for high, both Saturday and Sunday, but the humidity is going to be climbing up there. Dew points probably up into the 60s, which gets to be uncomfortable a little bit. So humid weekend, and the outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center are showing, heat risk there. We just had a heat risk briefing this morning, just kind of outlining the weekend. So if you had anything outside next weekend, which I understand you do have an event going on, you're going to want to have plenty of water planned in and maybe hydrate quite a bit just leading into it if you're going to be outside pretty much the whole time. Because our bodies are just not acclimated. Even at low 80s sounds like, oh, that's not a big deal. But, you dehydrate pretty quickly in the sun, especially if you're not acclimated.
All right, very good. So keep maybe the extra bottle of water. Bring the Stanley with some ice water in it. Maybe skip the Long Island iced tea or something like that. So, very good. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Hey, Ed, let's dive into the forecast. The rest of May. We get past the 16th, 17th. What's the final couple of weeks of May look like? Maybe even an early peek into Memorial Day.
Sure, yeah. No, we're going to see that heat be kind of the theme. The 6 to 10 day and the 8 to 14 day outlook, which goes out all the way to the 24th, 8 to 14 day, solidly in the above normal temps and above normal precipitation for basically all the way through the 24th at this point. So that's a good chunk of the rest of the month. I don't see anything beyond that showing any kind of a cool down. So it looks like as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, probably going to be in the above normal category at this point. We really had a much below normal month so far in the temperature range, which is a stark contrast. We were just told that this April was one of the warmest Aprils on record nationally for our United States. And then the last 12 months, April to the previous May, is the warmest on record. That last 12-month span.
Wow.
Is the warmest on record for the continental United States.
Huh.
Going back till, I don't know how many, late 1800s probably. I'm not sure the database records there, but so we have had quite a bit of above normal conditions. So this first week and a half of May has been, abnormally cooler than normal.
Yeah. Well, and what are the normals for this time of the year? What are the normals for, say, that Memorial Day weekend? What are some of the trends there?
We're normally right around the mid 70s right now for high. 73 and 51 are our normals. By the end of the month, by the Memorial Day weekend, it's 79 and 57. So, that's warm, getting up near 80 on a regular basis, and then lows, creeping up to 60. Once our lows start getting above 55, then those overnight growing spurts can continue. Seeds can germinate better, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's pretty comfortable, but on the warm side by the end of the month for 80 degrees.
Yeah. I mean, I can recall doing super sectional baseball games on that Memorial Day Monday where temperatures are, they're mid 80s. And, when the sun is out at its peak, you're talking 95 to 100-degree heat indices. So Memorial Day weekend can be a warm one, although it comes a little earlier this year, Ed. So maybe we have to wait until we actually get to June where we start to see the warm up. What's the June outlook tell us?
Yeah, as we look ahead forward, the above normal is paused for just briefly there. It looks like equal chances of above or below normal for June. The same thing with precipitation. So no solid signal there yet. So probably maybe start out the month warm as we finish out May, but maybe some cooler spells in there. So that probably means some storms. I know it shows equal chances of above or below normal, but anytime we're not above normal in temperatures, that means there's probably going to be a few cold fronts. And in the summertime, that usually means a few strong to maybe severe storms. So June might continue our active pattern. Once we get into July and August, usually severe weather tends to just, kind of slow down a little bit anyway, but hopefully it does. we're at 108 tornadoes for the year for Illinois, and that's more than I care to have.
I thought I saw it's a record for this so far this year.
Yeah, it's number 6 all time, and we're still in early May or mid May. So 108. Our highest ever was 142, and that was 2 years ago. Last year we had 126, so we were second place last year. The last 5 years on average have been way above normal.
Sure. Interesting stuff. With the June outlook, Ed, where do we start the month in terms of temperatures? Where do we end it? I feel like this is where we kind of really start to see the heat pick up in the summertime.
Yeah, we start the month at 80 and 58 for highs and lows, and then by the end of the month, 86 and 64. So you're regularly getting in the mid to upper 80s, by that time of the month, and that gets uncomfortable. I mean, if you get dew points 60 or above, then you're really stressing the body out to try and keep itself cool, and you got to start to plan for that kind of heat at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Inject this into my veins, Ed. I love it. It's one of my favorite times of the year. We start to warm up. We can be outside more. I don't love having to mow my yard every 5 days, but I'll take it over having to shovel snow every 5 days. So, or more. So, for sure. Very good. Anything else on June of note, Ed, whether it's a trend with, severe weather, whether it's a trend with temperatures or any, or even May to that matter, Ed, anything we haven't touched on with May or June that you want to put out there?
Yeah, we still are in our peak severe weather season. April, May, June is like climatologically our peak 3 months, and it's not even close. So we're just, I know we've had a lot of severe weather March and April, but especially April, we're really still in that heart of, making sure that we're ready for tornadoes or any kind of damaging severe weather, and just keep your, weather awareness up. And always be checking with the weather service, make sure if anything's coming in, you adjust your day. And obviously lightning is always a threat for outdoor activities, and Lightning Safety Awareness Week, I think, is the 3rd week of June. So we want to make sure people just heed any kind of thunder sounds that you hear. Boy, just kind of pause, take a break, get inside, make sure you're safe.
Sure.
Lightning can strike pretty far away from storms. So.
All right, keep all that in mind. Ed, let's take a break, my friend. Come back with some more. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, my guest on the Zoom. More to come with Ed on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLois Yonke. We're starting a new week with a higher trend. We have crude oil up almost $1.50, and we have corn, soybeans, and wheat all higher. July corn up 1.5, 472 3/4. September up 2, 479 3/4. December up 2.5, 496. July soybeans up 7 1/4, 12.15 1/4. August up 7, 12.09 3/4. November up 6.5, 11.96. July wheat up 9 3/4, 6.28 3/4. KC up 7 1/4, 6.83. Livestock's also green. May lean hogs up 37, 91 1/4. June live cattle up 77, 249.67. May feeders up 165, 369.02. Dow is up 19 points. RFD Radio Network.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom today is Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln. And Ed, I want to ask about the drought. How are we doing drought condition-wise? How are things looking there? It feels like it's been quite a wet spring, and maybe we're not in such bad shape anymore. What can you tell us?
Yeah, right. We definitely were able to take care of the drought for almost the entire state, except for the far south of I-70. DeWitt County is doing very well. Drought has basically been removed. The drought status is gone. for probably 85% of the state at this point. A little blob of abnormally dry just creeped into the last update on May 7th for northern Champaign, county and southern Ford. But really, the whole area is I think it was about 8 to 12 inches of rain on average for a 45-day period there in April, late March into April. So that helped a lot. I mean, that basically took care of our deficit at this point, and even the deeper soil moisture is starting to creep up there. So we're doing good.
Very good. Very good. And it sounds like still going to remain kind of wet getting into the rest of this month. Did you say what precipitation was looking like in June?
June was of equal chances of above or below normal there, but we normally get just around 4 inches or so. Let me see. I think that's right. Yeah, 4.16. So, if we're around normal, that's solid. The crops will really appreciate that chunk of rain, and obviously there are equal chances to be above or below normal. But I think with the cooler than normal in there, we're going to get some storms. I'd be very surprised if not a few cold fronts are sweeping through during the month and giving us some strong storms, maybe strong or severe at times. So.
Have we seen the last of the frost for the year?
Yeah, it's very unlikely. This late in the year, you'd have to really get a fast-moving, cold, high pressure out of Canada, because at this time of the year, the ground is getting warmer and warmer with all the sun, and any cold air mass coming out of Canada is going to modify as it's creeping towards Illinois. So to have any kind of cold that really gets into the frost level, it's got to be fast-moving and really cold, and I don't see anything in the outlooks, the extended, fantasy forecast past 10 days or beyond, to really give us any indication that there's going to be any frost. And once you get to the end of May, boy, chances go down significantly. I mean, yeah, there's just no more cold air in Canada that's going to be able to move in quick enough.
Sure. Very good. Very good. On that note, Ed, I did want to ask about the summer outlook. I know you gave us a June specific, but how about June, July, August, that kind of heart of the growing season in Central Illinois for our producers? What is that outlook showing right now?
All right. Yeah, I've just grabbed into that, and it looks like, we're surrounded by above normal temperatures, but we're just in a little pocket of equal chances there. So, there's some heat building out west, so we'll probably have some warm spells, but boy, nothing looking really impactfully excessively warm this summer. Same thing with precipitation, just kind of equal chances there. So roughly 3 to 4 inches a month of rainfall. We average right around 4 inches in each of the summer months, June, July, and August. I little worried about having below normal precip just close by to the west in western Missouri, western Iowa, because we don't want to get flash drought back in here. But I think we'll be okay if we can kind of keep just a few storm systems rolling through in June and kind of front load the summer with some moisture, and then the typical drier, hotter heat days of August maybe not going to dry us out too quickly then.
How quick can a flash drought happen?
It can happen in less than 2 weeks. I think as quick as 7 days you can have a flash drought, depending on how windy. The windiness sucks all the moisture out of the soil. So if there's hot and windy together, that just really exacerbates. I would say probably 2 weeks is probably safer to say to get into a drought. That first week would kind of be set the stage, and then if we get 2 weeks of really hot and windy with no precip, you really can tip the tables pretty quickly in that 2 week time frame.
Okay. All right. Sure. We'll be on the lookout for that. Is there any indication we could be setting up for that at all this summer, or is that?
Yeah. When I see that the below normal goes from Texas all the way to South Dakota and the precip for the whole summer, and that doesn't look good, for us to have a really frequent storm track through here. We're just going to maybe get a few pop up, summertime thunderstorm systems, maybe after the July and August time part of that summer. So just have to be aware of, hopefully we get all the crops cruising along pretty well. And if we do end up tipping the balance toward drought in July and August, hopefully things are well along their way and it isn't going to be too impactful on any kind of yields for us.
Sure. Yep, for sure. We're starting to get into those longer days, Ed. I was watching the race yesterday, and then turned on the basketball games, and next thing I know, it's 8 o'clock, and I got to start thinking about getting my kids to bed. And I'm like, how is it 8 o'clock? It's still light outside, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the time of year we start to see more sunny, or the sun lasting through the days. How about that?
Yep, yeah, we're gonna add, I think, another 30 minutes of sunlight in May here, 30, 35 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's getting, later and later. Twilight is going to go all the way past 9 o'clock before too long, because we only have about one more month of increasing our daylight. June 21st is kind of that summer solstice. So we're peaking out, but as we get closer and closer to the solstice, you add less and less minutes to the day of sunshine. It's the fastest part of adding and subtracting is during our equinoxes in March and September. That's when the sun's trajectory through the sky is more rapid, and you're adding time, 3 to maybe 4 minutes of sun a day. Now we're kind of slowing it down as we're getting to near the peak, and only about 30 minutes more, I think, sunlight this month.
Another reason I love this time of the year, Ed. The days are longer. We can be outside longer, all those things. So,
you bet.
yeah, you bring great stuff, Ed. You always do. We greatly appreciate the insight. Where do folks go to keep up with the latest in weather forecast, my friend?
Weather.gov/Lincoln.
Very good. Ed, always good to see you. Thanks for making time for us. Ed Shimon, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. We come up on the top of the hour. Network news comes your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.